In U.S. politics, a controversial Democratic candidate has suspended his campaign in the Senate race in the state of Maine. The move follows allegations of sexual assault against Graham Platner. He made the announcement in an online video.
We are suspending campaign operations. This is incredibly difficult because I know that some will think it's an admission of guilt, and it most certainly is not. We're not doing it because of the allegations. We're doing it because of the structures that are being taken away from us by those in power.
Platner has denied the allegations leveled against him. The Democrats will now have to select a new candidate to take on Republican Senator Susan Collins. It's expected to be one of the most closely watched contests in November's midterm elections. The CBC's Mike Crawley is following the story and joins us now from Washington. So, Mike, tell us more about who Graham Platner is and what we know about the allegations.
Yeah, Andrew, there was a ton of hype about Graham Platner among left-leaning Democrats. He was seen by many of them as an ideal candidate to win back the working-class voters that the Democrats had lost to Donald Trump and the Republicans over the past decade. And he certainly looks the part of the anti-establishment candidate. He's got that scruffy beard, a burly build, and tattoos. And he also talked the part, too, criticizing what he called the oligarchy, lashing out against big money in politics and the way that working people had been messed over. He's a veteran of the Iraq War. He's never held elected office. He farms oysters. And he launched his campaign for U.S. Senate last year with this viral video showing him doing things like chopping wood. But then came this series of increasingly difficult scandals. There were misogynistic and at times violent posts on Reddit that people dug up from back 10 or 15 years ago. It emerged that he has this skull and crossbones tattoo that is a symbol of the Nazi SS. Platner claimed not to know that. And then accusations of mistreating women. The most serious of them was revealed just this week. That allegation is that he had sexually assaulted a woman he had been dating. The woman went public. She revealed her identity in some news stories. That was on Monday afternoon. And really quickly, many of the prominent Democrats who had endorsed Graham Platner started pulling their support. And the National Democratic Party committee that provides funds to Senate candidates announced it was pulling the money. So Platner held out until last night before announcing in that video that he would withdraw. And as you heard there, he struck a pretty defiant tone in that. And that was just a snippet. It was an 11-minute long video. And he not only said that the allegations were false, he absolutely railed against the party establishment for pressuring him out of the race.
So what does all this say about tensions inside the Democratic Party?
Yeah, so there's right now a bunch of mainstream Democrats who are saying that the people who backed Platner were just way too enamored of his candidacy to really do enough careful scrutiny into his past. And so you've got this kind of set against the ongoing rift among the Democrats, which is, broadly speaking, between, let's call it the establishment wing of the party and the insurgent wing, or, another way we would look at it is the moderates against the progressives. It's basically this fundamental question that the Democrats have been asking themselves for years now. What's their way forward? Or should they be shifting left? Or should they be embracing the center? And Platner was endorsed by the patron saint of the U.S. left, Senator Bernie Sanders. I spoke with a political scientist who specializes in internal party dynamics, and he has been watching Platner's pretty dramatic rise and fall.
Support of Bernie Sanders was very important for him early on. Later on, as he gained momentum as this populist leftist challenger, others like Senator Elizabeth Warren got on the bandwagon. And you have to say that they didn't do their due diligence. They didn't vet him in a serious way. And because of that, the Democratic Party is really in a difficult situation now in Maine, and possibly the control of the Senate can be affected by these developments.
Now, you heard him mention control of the Senate there. The Democrats need to flip 4 seats from the Republicans this fall to win control of the Senate. And many people thought that Maine was going to be the easiest win.
All right. So what could this mean for the Democratic Party in the midterms this fall?
Yeah, well, they absolutely could do without the scandal. And so the fear now is that they may have blown what could have been a winnable Senate seat with this controversy. You know, that vision for the party that I mentioned, the way of trying to find the right candidates who've got the correct message and political leanings to appeal to voters in this in the U.S. here now. You've got a bitter Democratic primary going on now in Michigan with two contenders representing those two wings. So, look, Andrew, right now, Donald Trump is just so deeply unpopular that this ought to be the Democrats' golden opportunity to take both the House and the Senate. But it's really far from clear that the party has what it takes to do that.
The CBC's Mike Crawley live in Washington.